Hey Mojoholics, welcome back to What's Your Mojo, the weekly show where we fill you in on what you might have missed last week, give you a sneak peek on what's coming up next week, ask your feedback, and answer viewer FAQs. Now, before we start, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the great comments last week. Now, let's get down to business. In case you missed it, this week we published lots of great stuff, as always, but I personally really love seeing top 10 embarrassing movies by critically acclaimed directors, which I will translate means good director, bad movie. For example, James Cameron. You know, the guy who made The Terminator and Aliens and Titanic. Yeah, well, he made the list for his feature-length debut, Piranha 2: The Spawning.
I suppose you think that's hysterically funny.
And here's a spoiler alert. As bad as that movie looks, it's not even #1. Seriously, what could be worse than flying piranhas? As always, we are here to make sure you get no sleep and no studying done. So what's on the docket for the WatchMojo Marathon this weekend? Well, if you enjoyed our top 10 movie portrayals of real-life bad guys, then stay tuned for our top 10 movie portrayals of real-life gangsters coming up on Sunday. And I dare you not to start talking all New York gangstery after watching it.
What do you mean? You mean the way I talk? What? It's just, you know, you're just funny. It's...
All right, we're on to my favorite portion of the show, the trivia section. Okay, who is the only actor ever to have won a posthumous Best Supporting Actor Oscar? You guys gotta know this one. Come on, why so serious? All right, that gave it away. It's Heath Ledger. If you're into trivia like that, be sure to check out WatchMojo.com/trivia to keep yourselves occupied. Anyway, speaking of Heath Ledger, he was born April 4th, 1979, which means he would have turned 35 today. If you miss him as much as we do, be sure to check him out on our top 10 posthumous movie performances list, our top 10 improvised movie moments list, top 10 supervillain portrayals in movies, top 10 career-defining movies, and our Ledger vs. Nicholson Joker Showdown. Also, head over to WatchMojo.com/calendar to see thousands of our older, equally timely videos. And make sure to vote on the topics that matter most to you so that we can tailor our future videos to your tastes, because that's how we do. We have some lists in need of your input this week. But first, since you guys liked our top 10 greatest movies of all time series so much and suggested ideas for other series, we thought we'd ask you which ones you wanted to see first. So go to our poll page to vote for which topics WatchMojo should cover next, and take your pick from the top 10 greatest comedies of all time, top 10 iconic songs per decade, top 10 video games per genre, and many others. We'll do the ones you upvote the most first. Now, on to the suggestions. It's the Vice Triumvirate. Top 10 stripper songs, like songs that strippers dance to, top 10 songs about alcohol, and top 10 songs about drugs. Next week, we'll have top 10 songs about rehab. Just kidding. Anyway, staying on that theme, we also have top 10 fictional drugs in movies. But it's not all bad habits. We also have top 10 cutest video game characters. Head over to WatchMojo.com/suggest to make your opinions known. And while you're there, vote on anything else you can help us out with. We do it for you. Here we are back at the viewer FAQ, where we answer your most burning questions. To help me, as always, is my lovely assistant, Dan.
Howdy.
Okay, first things first. K-Dog Central 5 Ables asks, I have suggested countless of topics, and they have yet to be done yet. I know you guys are busy, but this is going on 2 months now.
Well, like we said last week, we plan about 2 to 3 months in advance, but how we greenlight clips goes a little something like this. We see how original a clip is, and if we already have something like it, if it'll make a good video, and if people will actually watch it, and then finally, if it's upvoted and suggested on our suggestions page. If it passes all those sniff tests, it's on to production. Okay, next question from Voldy Riddle, who I'm assuming is a Harry Potter fan, wants to know, when you say honorable mentions, is it for the first position, or is it to be in the list itself?
Honorable mentions are basically entries 11 through 15. We throw them in there in case you guys voted for them really highly, or they just missed the cut, or we wanted you guys to know that we didn't forget about a certain movie. You may also notice that we sometimes disqualify stuff based on criteria. So for example, in our upcoming clip on the saddest movie deaths, you may expect to see The Terminator. But spoiler alert, you don't, because he's a robot or whatever.
I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
And finally, we also cross-reference stuff within individual entries if they're sort of similar. So for example, if we say only one movie per franchise, we will talk about The Godfather Part 2 in our entry for The Godfather Part 1 as a tacit admission that they should both be on the list because they're both super awesome. But you knew that already, didn't you? Thanks, Boldy. Okay, next up. Jeremiah Hill sent a lengthy email, which I will try to condense. Basically, he wants to know why we pronounce stuff wrong all the time and are we lazy?
And I'll try to condense an answer. We spend a lot of time on our top 10s, but we unfortunately have to prioritize fact-checking over pronunciation because facts are universal and pronunciation is a bit more subjective based on where you live.
You mean like Mario versus Mario?
Exactly. That's not to say we completely disregard pronunciation. We do our best not to butcher names, but we only speak Canadian English and French, a little bit of Japanese. So at the end of the day, if I say Mario instead of Mario when we're publishing 2 to 3 videos a day, and that's the worst thing I do, I don't lose any sleep.
Also, I don't have scientific facts on this, but I suspect that our error rate is dramatically lower than most media companies, and for the web in particular. But thank you very much for your question, Jeremiah. And finally, Akila Aziza Gordon and Andrew Warren ask, how do we ask questions on your website?
Well, if you're looking to get one of your questions answered in this fancy FAQ section right now, the best way to do it is still in the comment section below, which we do read, by the way, so please be nice. But we also have Facebook and Twitter, or you can shoot us an email at watch@WatchMojo.com.
Also, if you want to send us a video question, upload a short 10 to 15 second video to YouTube with the title WatchMojo FAQ and a brief description of your question. Then leave it here in the comments or send it to us on Twitter with the hashtag WMFAQ. Thanks for the interest, guys. Well, that's our show. Tune in again next week for another edition of What's Your Mojo? See ya.